life is bigger than me. And so it's been a very interesting year for sure, in my life.
But also, I respect all of that, and I want, I mean, I feel it and I hear it, and I've watched, gosh, in my life, hundreds of people that have some type of experience like this, and the list of what their experience was is long. There's many. It's very diverse, right? It can be what you went through. It can be a car accident. It can be a diagnosis from a doctor. It can be a host of things, right, that nobody's planning on, and they're life altering. And you had your hard, and you got a second chance. We all have our hard, and we have to push for that second chance. And I think there's an experience. Tell me when then you got back and you ran your next, was it a half marathon? You've already done that, right? So
Yeah.
tell that story real quick, and then we're going to get into the topic.
Yeah, I just decided, I'm like, I need to go back and get myself to where I feel comfortable and not be scared of doing what I love to do.
Mhm.
You have those moments, and for me, can I run 13 again? Can I do that distance without falling over, literally?
Right.
And I decided to run. This was about 2 months later. I ran 16 miles and, posted a video about it and just said, you know what? I retraced the steps of the half marathon that I ran, and I decided to add another three. Since I mean, this week I'm doing back-to-back 20-mile runs, on Friday and Saturday. And I'm feeling absolutely amazing, but there's that mental component that you have to push yourself through to say, okay, can I still do this? I've had this setback. Am I okay? Can I be what I once was? And then even more so, I've never done the distance that I'm training to run.
Yeah.
It again is a goal of mine, and I want to make sure that I achieve it. And my daughter's going to be running it with me. And so it's those are the turning points in our life, Todd, where you have to make a decision. Do I crawl in a hole and kind of not live my life, or do I say the hell with it? I'm gonna live my life the very best way that I can, and I'm gonna help as many people as I can, because at the end of the day, that's all we have left, right? That's the legacy that we carry.
Beautiful story. Beautiful story. Okay, let's switch gears into and not to switch gears too fast. I just want everybody for a moment to just resonate on Matt's words. Live the life you want to live and don't take it for granted. Live the life you want to live and don't take it for granted. I think the business world has so much opportunity for us to live differently and to build relationship differently and to lead differently and to I was just on a call with one of our instructors, and his goal is to influence another 10 million people. He's 77 years old, and his goal is to influence another 10 million people before he passes away. And he has no idea when that'll happen. He's a pretty healthy guy, right? But it speaks volumes to no matter how old we are chronologically. My friend says, if you're still breathing, you have stuff to do, and you have goals to set, and you have objectives to achieve, and it's a beautiful thing. Not everybody gets second chances, and it's very near and dear to my heart. All right, so then into business. You're a specialist in real estate. You're a specialist in helping people finance real estate and buy homes. You're in the mortgage banking vertical right now. You work with Movement Mortgage, and you have done one of the things that I have always espoused to and taught, and that is specialists usually make more money than generalists. And not that it's about the money, it's about the specialty focus, right? And that's why you don't have doctors that do heart surgery, brain surgery, and abdominal surgery. They specialize. I have a friend that all he specializes in is the hand, from the wrist down. That's his specialty right there, and he does hand surgeries, all day long. But he's a specialist. You're a specialist now. You made a conscious choice. My guess is I might be off a year or so, but it feels like about 5 or 6 years ago, you started realizing that you had a gift to help people understand reverse mortgages. You had a gift to be able to work with that demographic, and you decided to go full on into that business. Let's talk about, give everybody a quick 3-minute education on what a reverse mortgage is, but then let's switch into how everybody that's part of the Fuel tribe, all the listeners and the tens of thousands of people that, that are coming online and watching videos and following instructors, how they use your specialty to begin to understand how to build wealth in their years of home ownership as well. So take it away and tell us about the transition from being a mortgage generalist to a reverse mortgage specialist.
So, Todd, I mean, this all started basically in two phases. The first was I remember, and I can't remember who was presenting, but it was at a sales mastery conference that was being done, and we were learning how to be better at what we do. And there was a gentleman that was up there that talked about, I am in the reverse mortgage space, and no one else is. And I just kind of looked at him. I said, "Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about reverse." Now, granted, I'd been in the industry for 15 years before that, before I heard this gentleman speak. But he said, "I have no competition. I have a product that everybody should have." And I looked at him and said, "Really? Reverse? I mean, this is a product everyone should have." And then later on that year, Todd, my dad came up to me and said, "Matt, I want to sell my house." I said, "Dad, this is everything that you want." And my dad was in his 70s and, living in St. George, Utah, and had, an 1,800 square foot Rambler. In my mind, it fit his needs. He says, "This does not fit my needs. It's too small. All of the kids, when you come down to see me and the grandkids, none of you can stay at this house. You all have to get hotel rooms. And you bumping shoulders in the kitchen. When we're here, I want something bigger and I want a pool." I said, "All right, Dad. Well, that's a big goal. Let's see how we can do that." And he said, "My house, I think I can sell it for about 300." This was 7 years ago. And I said, "All right, what do you want to buy?" "Well, I want to buy something for 620." And back 7 years ago, 620 could buy you a very nice house in St. George, Utah.
Yes.
And anyway, so I said, "Well, Dad, there are three ways that you can do it. You can buy it cash, so you can take money out of your retirement account, about $320,000, and you get the sales, proceeds from the sale of your home, and you go buy that home cash." He said, "Yeah, I really don't want to take out $320,000 for my retirement." I'm like, "Granted." Second, Dad, you can get a normal traditional mortgage. Your payment's going to be about $2,000 a month. And he wasn't very excited about that either. So I just watched this dream of his start to fall, right? But then I said, there might be another option. Let me go check into it. And so I went and started to research, talked to a gentleman in our company that did reverse at the time. And I came back to my dad and said, "Dad, you're not going to believe this. If you use a reverse mortgage," he said, "Wait a minute, Matt, reverse? Seriously?" I'm like, "No, Dad, like hear me out here, okay? You use a reverse mortgage as your financing to purchase this house. Your cash investment to buy a $620,000 home is only $380,000. So yes, you still need to pull 80 grand from your retirement account. But once you bring in that 380, the reverse mortgage loan brings in the rest, and you do not have to make a principal or interest payment for the rest of your life. You can if you choose. There's a huge strategy to that, which we're going to talk about today, but you don't have to. So you can cash flow the payment you don't need to make. You can be in this home, you retain title to it, and you don't have to make a payment for the rest of your life." He said, "What's the catch?" I said, "Dad, this is an FHA insured loan backed by HUD. I don't see how this is a bad deal for you." And at the closing table, he said, "Why doesn't everyone do this?" And I said, "Dad, I've been in the industry for 15 years and I just learned about it." And that was the moment for me that everything switched. It was, there is a need for a program that no one knows about. And, I find that if you can put yourself, it doesn't matter what you do and what industry you're in, if you can find something that you can do and do better than anyone else, that's a great place to be. If you
Yeah,
can
I
be
just
fishing in a pond, Todd, where there's no fishermen and there's a lot of big fish, that's a great space to be in.
What a great visual. What a great visual. Hey, I just put in chat, are you a leadership specialist? Just that idea to start with. And you can give me a wire, and then I know that we can't see the YouTube tribe that's on, but this intimate group with us right now can tell us that. We wanted to build the bridge when you were talking with Alex and then talking with me. We want to build the bridge so that everybody that's listening to this or going through the replay understands the power of how this type of mortgage instrument and I want to say you may be listening, and this may be a discussion you can have with your parents. You may be listening as a homeowner, and this is a discussion you can have with your husband, wife, partner, about are we doing the best thing financially that we can do with our house? At the end of the day, one of the things, Matt, that I'm all about is how do we societally help people feel relief from financial stress, right? And one of the things that we've told mortgage audiences and real estate audiences for years is if you can help your clients feel less financial stress, that is probably one of the most highly coveted emotions that people want. Talk from the angle now. So your dad has the first house. He has the bigger house. His dreams in his 70s came true because of a smart strategy to leverage the other house. How would you define your father's financial position now using the reverse? Is he choosing to make payments or not? And how does that work? And how's his wealth changed as a result of this whole experience with you?
Perfect. Yeah. And to be honest with you, Todd, just to get back to it, when you talk about financial stress, and we've had discussions on this,
Yes.
what is the financial stress and stress in general decreases life expectancy. You
Right.
talk about things that can really impact you, right? As I talk to retirees and those that are planning on retirement, the number one biggest concern that they have is, am I going to have enough money? Can I make it? Let alone thrive in retirement, right? This is, can I just survive retirement with the amount of money that I have coming in? And so this program is designed to help people enjoy a better retirement and thrive better in retirement. Now, my dad, he is living the life, Todd. He doesn't have to make a payment. Okay. He's got a home that he owns free and clear. Here's the benefit, though. And I really put this into three different categories. These are three different groups of people that would benefit from a reverse mortgage. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Group number one, you have a house that's paid off and you're just sitting on it. Okay. Now, you know as well as I that home equity is great to say that you have, but you cannot go to the store and buy groceries with it. You should try this, Todd. Take a picture of your house and go down to the supermarket today and try to buy something with that picture of your house,
Right.
right? They're going to laugh at you and say, no, Todd, we just take cash or credit cards. We don't take pictures of really fun houses, right? So we have this asset that is sitting there, but is doing nothing for us.
Okay. That's group number one.
Right. So if you do a reverse mortgage and you're in this group, you're going to open up a line of credit. Now, what is different with the reverse line of credit than a HELOC? Well, a HELOC is going to be
Home equity line of credit for
home
people that
equity
don't
line of
know. Yeah.
credit. Thank you. That is going to be a loan that as you take money out, you have to make payments back on it. Okay. So as you're drawing money out, the cash flow that you have on a month-to-month basis can be affected. The sad thing about HELOCs is they can be frozen on you. As you know,
Right.
2009 and 10, a lot of people that had these, they were frozen because the market value wasn't there for their house anymore. And so they lost the ability to use it. Also, if your house burns down, do you have access to that home equity line of credit anymore? Okay. With a reverse mortgage, if you have a line of credit, the first thing you need to know is that that line of credit has a growth rate and it builds and it grows through time. That is awesome. Okay. There in my financial plan, Todd, I'm going to have a reverse mortgage the moment I hit 62. And not because I need it, but because I want what it's going to give me. And what it's going to give me is a line of credit that is going to compound and grow for the next 30 to 40 years. And that money I can use if and when I need it. So let me put it to you this way. I talked to my financial planner and I said, hey, I need about $10,000 to $12,000 a month in today's dollars when I retire? And she looked at my retirement plan and she said, okay, Matt, yeah, you probably have enough money to last you until your mid to late 80s. But then it starts to get a little scary. I said, all right, well, what happens if I add into that plan a line of credit that by the time I get to my 80s is $2.5 million strong? And she said, there's no problem anymore. In fact, you can take out a whole lot more money. So that is the benefit of having this buffer asset. And this isn't just coming from me. This is from professionals like Dr. Wade Pfau, Barry Sachs. These guys are PhDs in the financial planning space that have said, hey, you can choose a pathway that doesn't include a reverse mortgage. You're going to be okay. You're not going to die, so to speak. However, if you use a reverse, it is going to greatly impact the sustainability of your retirement income and provide you with greater net worth as far as your estate. And these are, we won't have time to get into it today, but that is the information that we're able to start to provide people to say, hey, this is not just for people that are in dire straits. This is a program that is designed to help people enjoy a better retirement and build better wealth for their nest egg, for their heirs. And so again, group number one,
Yep.
have a house paid off, right, Todd?
Yep.
Okay.
Group number two.
Group number two, if you're over 62 and you're still making a housing payment. Okay. Now I want you to think about something. If I was your financial planner today and said, Todd, I've got the most amazing financial plan for you. I want you to give me, I'm going to say that your payment's $2,000 a month, Todd. I want you to give me $2,000 a month for the next 30 years. Okay. And I'm going to put that money into an illiquid asset. You can't take the money back unless you sell this property or you get a loan on it. And it gets even better. The money that you're putting in has a 0% growth rate. Todd, how excited are you to actually do this? Yeah, yes, that's where I want my money. No, but the reality is that is what we are doing when we make mortgage payments. Okay. And I tell people all the time, look, there is nothing wrong with the pathway that you're on with your 2% interest rate, making your monthly mortgage payment. But is there a more efficient place to put $2,000 a month over the next 20 years? That could be doing something for you. And of course, everyone shakes their head and says yes, right? Because that money could go with a financial planner. It could be building wealth. It could be going into buying long-term care insurance, which a lot of people need or should have because they're going to need it. They can be used just to enjoy a better life and better retirement. But stop making a mortgage payment with it, in a vehicle where you can't take the money back. Now, here's the benefit, okay? If you have a reverse mortgage, if you decide to make a payment, and again, every payment that you make is optional as far as amount and frequency. But if you make one, three things happen. First, your loan balance will drop by whatever you paid. Second, dollar for dollar, that money goes into your line of credit where it's liquid and growing for you. And right now, growing at about 7%.
Wow, yeah.
Third, you paid some interest. Now, Todd, this is where my very high net worth individuals all of a sudden start to really listen. What I'm about to teach you, and there's a huge asterisk next to this. I'm not a CPA. I'm not giving you tax advice today. Okay.
No, nor is Phil representing that Matt is any of that.
Correct. But what I want you to think about is the power of stacking deductions. Okay. If you have a reverse mortgage balance and that balance you don't make a payment on for a few years and that balance increases, and let's say that it increases by about $100,000, Todd. And let's say that you have qualified money in a retirement account somewhere. Qualified money means if you take it out, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. Okay. And let's say that you take out $100,000 from a qualified account. Well, normally you're going to get a 1099 tax form that's going to say, Todd, you just took out $100,000. And this is how much money is income that you're going to have to pay taxes on. But what happens if you decide to make a one-time payment on your reverse mortgage loan balance that has grown by $100,000 of interest? Well, first, your loan balance decreases by 100K. Second, dollar for dollar, your line of credit just increased by $100,000. That money is completely liquid to you. Third, you just paid about $100,000 of mortgage interest.
Hmm.
You would get a 1098 tax form at the end of the year stating as such. Now, I will let all of you make the connection here between the two. A 1099 that shows income and a 1098 that shows a deduction could potentially be something fun to think about. So that's going to be our second group, right?
Love
Making
it.
a payment. Do you have to? Not really. Can you get into a reverse to where it can be more beneficial for you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, third group was my dad. He's in the wrong house. He's looking to buy something different, right? Looking to get into something that's going to be a better fit for his retirement. In my personal opinion, to buy a house with 100% cash, although it's something you could do, is not the most efficient use of your money.
Right.
You're locking it away. You're basically throwing it in the bottom of the lake and saying, well, I can't really access this. There are so many other ways to do it to where this can provide a better experience for you in your retirement years and get a home that might fit your needs better.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So what are the so when you watch how you're coaching and you're looking at these different groups and we're all I think all of us understand at some point in our life, and maybe it's more consistent than you would like it. Maybe it comes and it goes, but these moments of financial stress. The biggest thing that you said, Matt, that I think everybody needs to take away on this is there is a direct correlation between stress and longevity. And there is a most definite relationship as to why that's a problem. And why it's a problem is because the number one thing that is regenerative for our health is sleep. And when you have large levels or even mediocre levels of financial stress, you can't, you just feel it and you'd like a little bit more breathing room. And we've all had moments probably in our lives, at least I have, where, I didn't have a check coming in and I felt really stressed out and I didn't know what to do. And so, part of Fuel's community and part of our rallying call around the world is health and wellness. And so I want to make sure that everybody understands the bridge that Matt's here, um, not to sell you a reverse mortgage or to even use the Fuel platform as a way to build his business. He's got plenty of business. The smarts behind this are when we lay our head on the pillow at night, do we have financial peace of mind? And if we can lay our head on a pillow at night and have financial peace of mind, we automatically add years to our lifespan in the normal longevity cycles. So I think this is I guess pun intended before I say it, this is the heartbeat of the conversation.
It is. It
Tell
is.
me, tell everybody some stories of stress with some of your clients, and just we got your dad. There's nobody closer probably to you than your father and what you've done for him, and the aha moment that he had in learning that he could pull this off. But tell us another one or two stories about how you have some clients that are seriously building wealth because of reverse mortgage and what you've done for them.
Yeah. We tend to think in the back, of our minds, shoot, I didn't plan well, so I had to get a reverse mortgage. And unfortunately, that's the stigma around reverse. But the reality is, because I planned well, I'm doing a reverse mortgage.
Hmm.
And that's really the mantra of what we kind of teach, the people that are thinking about doing this. But you think about just the financial well-being of all of us. My dad now no longer has to worry about making a housing payment. He can if he chooses, and it's a strategic play for him when he chooses to make a payment. But he uses the money that he would be spending on a monthly mortgage payment and creates memories. He's with his kids and grandkids. He's able to fly around the country and do the things that he wants to do. The reality is we only have one life to live. We only have one retirement. That's it. What we decide to do with it and the memories that we build, that's going to be what's most important. I promise you, when you're lying on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking, gosh, I'm just so grateful that, I was able to work this many hours, or I was able to, um, you know, have this house, right, that is sitting there that's paid off, and this was my interest rate or whatever it happens to be, right? That's not what matters. What matters is how many people was I able to help? How many people, and my kids and grandkids and my spouse, what type of memories were we able to create and build? And that's really what becomes the most important thing as we start to go down that road and as we wrap up our life here. Um,
Say something just to make this personal for everybody. Um, there's a beautiful research blog that began years ago and became a book, and the book is entitled "The Five Regrets of the Dying." And this is not a leadership live on morbidity, and it's not a leadership live on let's die well, except to say, Matt, exactly what you're saying. So let me just lay these down for everybody real quick. And um, the five are: I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I had stayed in touch and spent more time with my friends. And number five, Matt, is just like it's like the mic drop of life. I wish I had let myself be happier.
yeah,
What do you say to that, brother?
it's power, and that is so true. And we have got to give ourselves license to be happy.
Yeah.
We do. We live in a world, Todd, where our ability to help others and to help ourselves is directly related to financially how are we doing? Because if we're not financially able to help ourselves, we definitely can't help others.
Yeah.
So when we look at trying to build something that's bigger, better, more amazing for the world, it all starts out with how financially secure are we? How, are we managing what we should? The law of the talents, right? Are we
Yeah.
doing what we should be doing with what has been given to us?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really is what makes the difference, right?
Right, right. So let's transition, and I think everybody will enjoy this moment. You and I've been friends for 15 years, and the journey took us all the way to the point where you were one of our most and are one of our most respected coaches, and you've coached many people on things that matter most. Let's put the coaching hat on, take the reverse mortgage hat off for a second, put the coaching hat on and talk to leaders. You've built leadership teams, you have built businesses. What are the two or three biggest leadership lessons that you've learned about inspiring others and leading others and even maybe the accountability piece of being a coach?
Todd, that's a great question. I would say that the number one thing that I always started with anyone that I was coaching was, what does your life plan look like? What is most
Mm.
important to you? And if work is number one, we've got to have a major adjustment in where your priorities lie. So what is going to be most important to you as far as life? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? And I think as leaders, we need to be able to ask that question for those that we lead. I think we pigeonhole people into jobs and careers and say, well, this is what this is. But do we really take the time to ask the important questions? Is this who you want to be? Is this where you want to go? What are your dreams and your goals? And let's help them get to their greatest potential. And whatever that potential is, not everyone is destined to be a CEO of a company, but is someone destined to do something, A, that they're good at, and B, that they love?
Everybody has a destiny. And there's a beautiful relationship between what you just said and aligning vocation, destiny, and giftedness, right? And you just brought up something, and I want to make sure that everybody is hearing this. Here's the test. As a leader right now on Leadership Live, you may join weekly. This may be your first time. Whatever it might be, you might be listening to a replay. The greatest discovery in the last 12 months in 2024 by the Gallup organization is that 66% of people employed would like more hope in direction with their leader. And it's very interesting when you start to think about this. And if you want to add the second layer to it, it takes us all the way to 90%. 9 out of 10 people said that hope is number one and trust is number two. So, Matt, I think one of the things that you have done well is you have coached leaders on how to be essentially mentors. And what I would say is to everybody listening, you cannot move somebody on your team to a new behavior logically. I can say to you, go do this and. Okay, well, that's not how you connect with people, and it's certainly not how you motivate people. But you can say, when I asked you that question about what's important to you, and when I asked you that question about your life and your life plan, you said this. I can tell you right now, if we develop this skill a little bit more with you on the job, you will get that more quickly. We talk all the time in coaching, right, about you can't motivate anybody unless the action that we're trying to have somebody do is tied to that deeper core value. So just go a layer deeper. I mean, when we're at the academy, you have a couple hundred people in the room and we're doing the role play and in a role play, we see people starting to show emotion and cry and things like that. So let's just go a layer deeper because this is real leadership right now. Leadership and followership are dramatically linked together, and people follow you because of one or two reasons. They have to, which is the wrong reason, and the second is because what you're doing for them. So take us a layer deeper on this.
Well, when you look at, in my mind, leaders are good leaders are ones that are going to listen to those that they lead. They're going to inspire them. They're going to help them climb to be the best versions of themselves, regardless on what position that they hold. And I think that's going to be very important. So as you're going through and you're having a discussion, right? If you have someone underneath you and you say, hey, Todd, tell me about the direction that you want to go. What is most important about being in this company to you? And you're going to tell me whatever it is, right? But that's the surface layer, right? That is the first knee-jerk reaction. Okay, so tell me, why is that important to you? Tell me more about that. Let's unpack this so that we can go and get to, the real reason for why you're here. And I think beyond that, it is, where do you want to go? Where is
So
the ceiling for
yes.
you? Right? And then you're asking the follow-up questions to say, well, why is that important to you? If you want to be a leader, why do you want to lead? Tell me why being a leader is important to you. Or if you want to achieve this milestone in your life as far as, I don't know, having a house in Palm Springs, why is that important to you? Those are the reasons that we need to know as leaders, because that is what is going to solidify the relationships that we have with them. If we care about them and they know that, it does not matter what a competitor is going to throw at them as far as money,
Right, right.
because it doesn't matter. Todd, in our industry, and I'd say in every industry, there are competitors all the time that say, hey, Matt, we want you to come work here. We want you to come here. We'll give you X amount of dollars if you come here, and it's a lot more than you're making. Well, guess what? That's not important to me.
Yeah.
That is not the driving force for where I decide to be and where I decide to hang my business and my license. And that could be said for everything. What is important to me is, who do I work for? Who do I work with? What is their vision? Do I
Right.
feel like I'm a part of something that is bigger and more amazing than I am? Do I feel valued? Do I feel loved? I think that's the key, Todd. Do I feel loved where I'm at? Because if you
Don't
can feel loved where you are, game over.
do your people feel loved? Joe Mamby wrote a book on that and was part of our virtual sales mastery in 2020 when COVID was around. I just finished a biography from Chip Wilson. He's the founder of Lululemon, and it's kind of his biography. And the book's called Lululemon and the Future of Technical Apparel. He talks about the culture of Lululemon. Now, he's not part of the company anymore and sold, and that's the sad part of the story. The culture of how he got Lululemon to be the most advanced technical apparel company in the world was that every single employee in every single position went through what he calls the vision and goals exercise. And he had them map out their 1 year, their 5 year, and their 10 year plan in all of those areas that you mentioned were important to people. And the way that he brought it alive in the retail store, this is leadership, guys. He brought it alive in the retail store because in the dressing room areas, all the employees that work in that store had their dream boards on the wall that synced up with their 1, 5, and 10 year vision. And I think about that, and I think about the power of just this discussion that we're having right now. And it's like when you're able to walk into a cubicle and you have a teammate and you're the leader and you can see his or her dream board, 18 inches by 20 inches. And it's there to serve as a reminder so that not only the rest of the team, but you as a leader can say, hey, that sailboat is beautiful. What ocean is that picture from? Oh, it's from the Caribbean, one of my favorite spots. Oh man. So what's the goal? Well, I want to have a 24-foot or a 38-foot or whatever yacht by the time I'm 35 or whatever, sailboat, whatever. There's a direct connection between taking a visual picture off of a dream board, aligning it with a work behavior, and then celebrating the achievement of these things. And it's such a fun exercise to go through. In the early days of Fuel, we had all of our teammates around one large table, and we spent, I think, $700 on magazines. And we just put all the magazines in the middle of the table. There was a bunch of scissors, there was a bunch of glue, and we went through this whole exercise so that everybody could have their dream board. And I have to tell you that as a leader of a digital global company, when you can help your teammates' dreams come true, you never have to worry about your own dreams coming true. And I like this idea. We were talking with somebody this morning, and we were talking about Salesforce and the Dream Maker, conference, the Dreamforce conference that they do. And we were talking about the job of a leader is to make dreams come true. And you want to talk about moving from a transactional employee mindset to a relationship loyalty mindset. It's all founded on what you and I are talking about right now.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no way to just flip a switch and say, okay, by next Friday I'm going to have this figured out. But I have to tell you, if like in sales, Matt, right? If we don't connect, we can't convert. Isn't it the same in leadership?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you don't
Absolutely.
connect with somebody, you can't begin to convert them to a way of thinking or a new behavior that's good for them and good for the company, right?
Well, and I think it's important too, Todd. I mean, as a leader, those that are leaders that are on this call that are watching, do you know what your dreams are? I mean, have
Mm.
you gone through the exercise to actually put it onto paper? What is most important to you in life and in business? Physically, emotionally, spiritually. What are those things? Why do you get up every day and do what you do? And if you haven't done the exercise in a while, I challenge you, we both do, to do this exercise and really, again, get it outlined, get pen to paper. I have a dream board. One of the most fun things I did with my wife, we did the same thing, Todd. We went to Barnes and Noble. We purchased, I don't know, 100 magazines, and we had a date night charcuterie board and everything. And we went through and we cut out everything that was important to us. And we made a collage
Mhm.
and we have it and we look at it. And it's something that is this is what we do. This is why we're here. This is what we achieve and want to achieve in our lives. And by doing that and having that vision board is so powerful, and it has to be more than numbers, right, Todd? It cannot be, this is what we need to do as a business as far as the number. It is much, much greater than that.
Yeah, yeah. If this is not the right link, I'm just going to put a link in the chat right now on the vision and goals worksheet that Lululemon does, and I think I could even pull it up for a second here. And if I go into share, you guys can, oh, sharing's not turned on, send a request. Okay. All right. So we talked about the number one leadership decision, which is this whole connection piece. What's number two? And then we can begin to wrap this up. And if you guys have any questions you'd like to throw at Matt, just post the question in chat right now and he can respond. And then at the end of our time together, he'll give you his direct email. So if you want to talk to him about reverse mortgages or, just even the financial stuff he's sharing with thousands of people as he changes lives. We want you to be connected to Matt Harrison.
So in my mind, Todd, do you give yourself, first off, the ability to train people the right way,
Mm.
and then allow the leashes to come off and allow your people to perform at their utmost ability that they can perform? I think a lot of times we keep the leash on way too long. I think that we don't allow our people to, number one, be trained the right way. And in training, they have to know the why behind what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been in companies where, Matt, this is what you have to do. Well, why do I have to do it that way? you know um, and then once I've been trained, I'm not allowed to be autonomous in being able to be the best version of me in that role, if that makes sense.
It makes all the sense in the world. I will tell everybody that what Matt is talking about, and I think we've all been guilty of it. I have, is over management, micromanagement. And I love the leash. The analogy I got early as I began to develop as a leader was every leader is either a wing or a weight. Okay, you're either blowing wind under your employees and allowing them to soar to the natural heights that they have as their God-given potential, or you're a weight and you're crushing their spirit and they don't feel empowered. They feel jittery and scared to make decisions. They operate in a way that they're there and they're working, but in the deepest and most disingenuous way, we treat people the wrong way. And this weight wing, this leash, right? And one of the people that we know Charla Ellis together, right? And Charla talks about building a Top Gun team. And if we just use the Top Gun movies and we see how those fighter pilots are working in unison with each other and accomplishing things and having different specialties as they go on missions. She says that one of the greatest things you can do, besides knowing what's important to your team and their life, is to ask them the questions on how their future feels and looks in terms of job and the alignment of roles and responsibilities, right? I think I'm a big trust guy and have studied trust my whole life. And I think what the leash analogy is that you just gave, or the wing and the weight analogy is the level of trust you have in your people and the level of trust they have in you. And I would just say to everybody, there's zero downside in being vulnerable and transparent in conversations with people. It's not a weakness to be vulnerable and transparent. It's not a weakness to say, hey, how can I be a better leader for you? That is a strength, and it's a connection strength that draws people in. If we could define our relationship a year from now, where will you be, and how can I help you get there? These are all just the leadership micro kind of modalities, if you modality, micro modality on connection. And somebody said something a long time ago to me too. If you take care of the people, the profits will take care of themselves. So Matt Harrison, we got a minute or two as we wrap this up. You've been a gift to this community, and you're certainly a gift to Fuel, and you're a gift to homeowners around the world. And it's just a joy having this combo with you, knowing that I first saw you 15 years ago, and here we are, working together to change the world together. It's a blast. So final thoughts you might want to share with everybody, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
I'm just grateful for this community. What a
Yeah.
great platform for amazing individuals. And I learned from you. All of the fuel instructors that we have, and there are more joining every single day, provide a level of expertise that help me. And,
Yeah.
I think when we look at the whole idea of how do I become the best version of me, well, it's surrounding myself with others that are going to, again, put wind underneath my
Mm.
wings. They're going to help build me up. They're going to help me be better at what I do. Because again, if we think that we have all of the knowledge and we know it all, one of the principles that we talked about, Todd, very early on, everything can be improved. And if you don't believe that, you need to start believing it right now. Because if you think you got it all figured out,
Done.
you don't.
You're done. You're done. I love you, brother. I'm glad that you are on the other side of that heart attack. The world is blessed that you are still walking around and you've got the beautiful heart that you have. I want to say to everybody on Leadership Live that this is an intentional experience that we try to create for you each and every week, where we bring in somebody that's on the Fuel team that's got breadth in helping you become the best version of yourself. I learn a lot by interviewing, and I'm sure you learn a lot by listening. Please do not keep this a secret. Take this each and every week. Share the link as you get invited, as you see the marketing coming into your email on what the next topic is. Forward that to everybody in your team. Everybody can join the Fuel leadership experience each and every week. And I'm telling you right now, if we change leadership, we change the world. So Matt Harrison, thank you very much. How should people get a hold of you? And I'm going to go ahead and put the link in if you tell it to me, to have a conversation with you about reverse and anything.
Yeah, in anything, I'm here to help. First off, I'll give my cell phone number. That's the best way to reach me
Go
is
for it.
801
801
330
330
2200.
2200.
And you can also
Matt's
reach me
cell.
on my email. Just go to matt.harrison@movement.com.
There we go. Make sure I have it spelled right. .com. Matt Harrison at movement.com. There we go. All right, brother. Thanks. Have a great day. And I'm glad you have two 20-milers coming up back to back for your training. And thank you guys all for joining us. And my only ask is you do not keep Wednesdays at 10 o'clock Pacific time a secret, and share it with everybody, get everybody here. I want to thank Scott, who's behind the scenes, who's our producer, and thank all of you that are on YouTube watching the live stream. Again, share the replay with everybody you can. Point them to this. It's a great conversation. Health and wellness and financial freedom are a beautiful, beautiful equation. So good job, Matt. We'll see you soon. And thanks everybody for listening. Take
Thank
care.
you.
We'll see
God
you
bless.
next week. Same channel, same time. Another